It's people that want to tell you about you because it takes the attention off of them. So if we're going to play that game, then you have to have that talk with yourself first. Before you come to me talking about how wrong I am in certain situations, you got to have that talk, right? That private talk between you and yourself about how you're wrong in situations and other people let you slide in a lot of situations. They don't bring up your faults all the time because we know we all got them. You got to look in that mirror before you start going out and pointing to everybody else, because what you will likely find out is that a lot of the faults that you pinning on other people, you got those exact same ones. Make sure you have that talk with yourself first before you start talking to everybody else.
That I believe about powerful men, about true alpha men. And I'm not talking about controlling, insecure, angry men who call themselves alphas, because that ain't it. But truly powerful alpha men is that they are dangerous men. Dangerous men who have their warrior energy under control, who have their dangerous side accessible but contained. And in their presence, everyone feels safe and protected. But everybody also knows that if required, they will access that warrior energy and fucking handle business.
Oh, what an amazing day to be a Philadelphia Phillies fan. But to my entrance video, it's just so funny. You know, people are just so, they treat you like shit. They do shit to you. They forget the stupid, disrespectful things that they do to you, right? And then a guy like me, when I overreact, and it's a combination of overreacting to disrespect, like real disrespect. I'm not talking about like clowning around, right? We all have that. We all bust balls. And I'm talking about real disrespect. You know the difference, right? Gym bros know the difference. Military guys know the difference. Law enforcement know the difference. But I'm talking about real disrespect, when a guy really disrespects you, right? I do like a combination of overreacting and sending a message so they don't disrespect you the next time. But it's just so funny that people will do shit to you and say things to you, right? And then they try to blame you. They try to blame you instead of looking in the mirror. And because I make mistakes all the time, and sometimes my jokes come off wrong and they're taken as a disrespect, but I apologize when I find out, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, right? But the disrespect is just so funny when it backfires on them. But that was just a little comment to my point about the entrance video. But it's great to be a Philadelphia fan right now. The Union won. Congratulations. All right. The Phillies came out with a win over there in Houston. So if you don't think that at least winning one game away in Houston isn't a win, then, like, because I know we lost, but you had to beat them in their own stadium, right? You had to. So that came out with a win. So the Phillies are doing good, and the Eagles are undefeated. We knew that. All right, but we're looking good. So it's real great. But it's Halloween over here too, over here in Jersey. And of course, I will be handing out all the tricks and treats for the little kids. First of all, if they show up in a East Rutherford Giants, Arlington Cowboys, or Maryland, Virginia, Washington Commanders outfit, anything that even looks like that. If kids are even wearing blue today, unless it's Union blue, all right? Or if anyone's wearing any stars, or if anyone's it's got like orange, that disgusting brown, orangey yellow, none of them are getting candy. All right, they're doing push-ups and pull-ups. All right, if anyone dresses up like a cowboy, all right, they're not getting any candy. But on the other hand, if kids are showing up in Philadelphia gear, right? If a kid's dressed up like an eagle, or if a kid's dressed up like a Union soldier, or anything like Gritty or anything like that, they're going to get extra candy. All right? But kids, when they come to my house, they're going to have to earn their treats. That means going on a 3-mile run, all right? They're going to have to do 20 pull-ups, all right? And they're going to have to do 100 crunches. Then they can get their candy, all right? So that's the way it is. And if I see any fat bodies, like overweight little fat kids coming to my house, they're going to get little packs of salad. Then I'm going to I'm about to go upstairs after this video. I'm going to start doing little baggies of lettuce and carrots. All right. And then I'm going to hand their parents, if they bring any parents with them, I'm going to hand them a nutrition book and how to raise your kids book. So that'll be fun. But the other thing is, Kiss My Rosie Jackass looks like it's not looking good. I still got one player tonight, but it's not looking good. But there's still a chance. So we'll see what happens. But again, as long as Alpha 3 makes the playoffs, as long as Alpha 3 makes the playoffs, then that's when the real season begins. All this other stuff is trash. All right, all this other stuff is trash. All right, give me a second. I got to pause this for a second. So I'm back. So here's a quick story, a New Jersey DOC story, right? So anytime an officer screws up, it could be any little teeny thing, especially if it's self-inflicted, or if the inmates make you the butt of their jokes. It's even funny. You just get trashed, right? So one time, so what happens in the prison, right? If for whatever reason, if there's one officer left on the unit, right, there's not supposed to be. There's supposed to be always two, right? There's always supposed to be two officers. There's supposed to be a floor officer and a booth officer, right? So, but there's times when the booth officer is by himself, right? The floor officer has to go do something like emergency. We don't have time. Sometimes you just have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. You don't got time to find a relief, right? So this particular time, this officer was in the booth by himself. Now, for the most part, right, the officers and the inmates try to get along and just make it through the day, right? So the inmates typically have bunkies, right? So it's usually 2 to a cell. And if one of the inmates is in medical distress, his bunkie, or maybe like the inmate, like the inmate that walks around cleaning shit up, right? He looks into the cell and sees that there's a problem medically. So you'll always hear like an inmate screaming, like the code for a medical, or he'll just say like man down, or something to get the officer's attention so they can call code and get medical help on the unit, right? So this particular officer, he was in the booth by himself, right? And right, so he has keys that can get him in. It's like 3 keys, 2 keys, 1 key for the booth, 1 key for the floor to get to the floor, so he can get back and forth, get himself in and out, right? So this particular officer started hearing man down, right? So instead of calling his partner back, he grabs the keys and he walks onto the floor, but the inmates were fucking with him, right? So the inmates start laughing at him because the officer grabbed the wrong keys and he locked himself on the unit, right? So you're like a little radio transmission, like that there's something going on in this particular unit. Nobody knows what's going on. So Alpha 3 goes up there, right? And he gets a heads up that this particular officer locked himself on the unit, right? So normally it's no big deal, but we had a big wig touring the facility, right? So our sergeant, I think he was a sergeant he was a sergeant at the time, was escorting her around to the different units. So the lieutenant gets me on the horn. It's like, listen, this dude, all right, is locked onto the unit, right? And all the inmates are laughing at him. They're clowning him, right? And we got Miss So-and-so walking around. You need to get these keys, all right? You gotta go save this dude, right? So I go run over. Now I got to go through like 20 doors, right, to get to where the backup keys are, right, in the outside of the prison, right? I get the key, I go back, I gotta get molested and stripped down to even get back into the prison, right? So I get up to the unit, right? And you have to step up to look into the window to see what's going on onto the unit inside the booth, right? So I step up on the step, look through the window, right? There's nobody in the booth. On the other side of the booth, there's another glass, right? That other glass is on the other side of that glass is the unit, right? So I run over there. I look through the booth to the other glass. All I see is this. There's this the other officers on the other side of the booth tapping on the window. Like, he's like, help me, I'm trapped and shit like that. So I was like, all right, so but they gave me the wrong key, right? So they gave me, so I can't get in with the backups, right? So now Miss Ricky's on this, in this particular area. So we got the fucking, we got this sergeant like redirecting her and trying to stall her until I could free this dude from the fucking unit. Meanwhile, you got fucking inmates laughing at the dude, clowning him, throwing fucking shit at him and stuff like that. I had to do this whole process over again, run back to where they keep the backup fucking keys, right? I then come back in, finally rescued this dude, man. I don't know how funny that sounds to you people, but if you were there, you'd be dying laughing. But those are some of the funny, stupid shit that goes on, like the shenanigans that goes on, that keeps you laughing throughout the day, keeps you from wanting to fucking throw yourself off a building, right? And then the other one was like when you're escorting an inmate from A to B, right? You're going through the hallways, but you gotta let people know you're coming in case because sometimes they're like, no other inmates are supposed to be around them, right? So you got them cuffed up. And you just radio ahead saying such and such is en route to your area with one in cuffs, right? So that's how that's kind of like the code, right? So everybody gets that transmission. It goes on the radio like such and such to such and such. We're en route with one in cuffs, right? So we're waiting for like this inmate to come through the area, right? It's a fucking rookie officer that handcuffed himself. He's walking around, he's playing around with the cuffs, right? So he handcuffed himself and he didn't have the key, so he had to go get saved with the key. So anyway, that was fucking funny too. But those are the funny things that are going on. But the Phillies are playing tonight, all right? And then the Philadelphia Union are Eastern Conference champions, all right? They're playing Saturday, all right? And then, of course, the Eagles. Yes, they're going to go on. They're going to continue their undefeated streak. So that's nice. Anyway, have a great day. Stay motivated. And Alpha 3 will see you later. And he is out. Send it.